people, I saw this article online and I wanted to see what you thought about it. Apparently shoplifting in the UK has reached huge levels because so many people are struggling due to the cost of living crisis. So I'm just wondering, should shoplifting be more ignored by businesses now due to the cost of living crisis, especially as it's on the rise? What do you think? Apparently more young people are also filming themselves when they go into these shops, showing themselves actually shoplifting. I mean, why would you do that? That doesn't make sense to me. So the president of the Federation of Independent Retailers apparently wants the government to give a £1,500 grant to businesses so that they can add more security. What do you think about that? Do you think it's even going to make a difference? Because if people are struggling, as we know they are, they're not going to be worrying about security. They're just going to get more clever in ways of trying to do their stealing, and it's going to become even worse, which means that more people are going to be at risk in the business sense of losing a lot of money and even getting hurt if they, the business owners or their staff, try to intervene. There's also been a rise in criminal gangs stealing mobile phones, especially with the new iPhone 15 model coming out. This is some footage of video I found online from a news report. Please be advised, this next video shows a shop owner being attacked during a robbery in his business.
Far from opportunists, the crime that these three masked men in this video are committing is extremely organised and becoming increasingly common.
Unfortunately, it's a growing problem. Last year we had 30 incidents, and if you think handsets are around £1,000 each, they get maybe 4 or 5 during a raid, times that by 30. As I say, this time of the year with the new iPhone coming out, we're expecting that to be worse this year than it was last year, unfortunately.
Which explains why some mobile phone shops no longer display the items they are trying to sell. Staff at this flagship store were trained on watermarking technology, which will place a unique code on high-value devices that can be tracked if stolen. But police say that the real cost of these crimes is not just financial.
There are people on the end of it. So steaming, you've got a group of sometimes youth, sometimes grown adults running into a store, threatening, intimidating, and we know firsthand the effect that leaves on the victim and the staff in that store. So very much trying to change the message, the mentality around that business crime is not a victimless crime.
Mohammed knows this all too well. Unlike staff members at 3, he wasn't able to run or hide when his shop was targeted. At first, he attempts to fight the hammer-wielding robbers before being manhandled.
I just pushed him, and then he took, from his arm, something hidden from there, and then he hammered on my hand. So then I thought myself, just let them be.
A father of 3, Mohammed prioritised his life over his livelihood, but is still feeling the cost today.
They took everything, around more than £10,000 approximately then. It's been 5 months. I don't know how long it's going to take to recover from that pain, emotionally, financially.
Mohammed says he wants more support from police to prevent incidents like these and help protect small businesses who already struggle to compete in the industry and cannot afford to spend thousands of pounds on watermarking technology. Shaman Freeman-Powell, Sky News.
Do you think people should be allowed to be excused if they are caught shoplifting, particularly in those larger shops and supermarkets? Because many people say that the costs of the items in there are usually so high now because the supermarkets have added extra money onto the price of goods to make sure that they continue to make profits as well as cover any losses they may suffer due to people shoplifting. I mean, we're in a cost of living crisis. Wages are a lot lower than they should be, and finding stable work is getting even harder. People everywhere are really feeling the pinch financially and struggling to survive because inflation is so high. So that means living costs across the board have gone up for the basics of life, such as food, rent, mortgages, as well as petrol and the cost of travel, to name a few things. Also, many hundreds of thousands of people have still not recovered properly from the loss of their more stable jobs and income that they probably had before COVID and the lockdowns that decimated so many lives. Plus, the London Mayor Sadiq Khan is trying to introduce that ULEZ scheme across London, which is another story. If you've seen what some ULEZ camera vigilantes are doing in disabling the ULEZ camera network, then you know what I'm talking about. So do you think that the UK government should give businesses a £1,500 grant to improve their security? Or do you think that they should increase police presence in and around these shops and businesses, giving the police more powers to detain and prosecute shoplifters? And where do you think the whole situation is going to go from here, as the cost of living keeps impacting on people so severely?